when everybody makes tons of money, somebody got to think at which cost we are making the money. All right. My dear friends of Radio Udaan, I'm your Babuji, janak, rajan. You're listening to the latest episode of the Great Indian Monologue. People becoming richer is a nice thing. Our affordability goes up. We can start buying stuff, which we dreamt of. There are needs and wants. The needs are the basic necessities, and the wants are those things which we desire. We can live without them, but we want them dearly, kind of. So as the affordability goes up, we start spending more and more, buying more and more. But somebody has to really think about at what cost we are becoming richer. My question has some deep significance, particularly this year 2024, because my dear friends, in the summer, not even before that, even well before that, we are going to be baked by abnormal rise in temperatures. Already 2023 had been marked as the hottest year in the last 125,000 years, and the temperature keeps going up all the time. The weather has been screwed up beyond repair. I'm afraid to say that. I still have some hope that we could do something to mitigate the risk and avoid some irreversible damage. But a lot of people, they think we have already crossed that point. Alright? So for all the things that we keep consuming, from where they are coming up. Factories keep producing more, newer mobile phones, newer technologies, newer rockets, newer missiles, newer satellites, new electric cars and new batteries and so on and so forth. But all these have to come from somewhere, right? And what price we are paying to that somewhere, from where we get all these materials, the raw materials. This is where the problem lies. Unlike a human entity, if I want to buy something from you, you fix a price, then I give you the price. And then you give me the produce, whatever product you have. But unlike that, when it comes to Mother Nature, it's a one-way transaction. In the sense, we keep taking whatever we want from Mother Nature, and she doesn't put up a price upfront. But indirectly, it is going to cost us a lot more than what we could ever think of, but we haven't started realizing that yet. Since nature is not an entity, a legal entity like you or me, the governments all over the world, they have a right on all the resources available wherever we live. So they start allocating it to industry. So industries could make products, newer and newer products using newer and newer technologies. Till some point in time, it made a lot of sense because, the quality of life was very bad some 100 years back, some 200 years back. And I see that, some of you are thinking that even now it's the case for many people in India. Though I agree with you, my statement is a generic one which talks about the whole world, where the quality of life has improved. We got new medicines, we got new technologies and so on and so forth, transportation which makes travel easier and faster and so on. But also, it has caused damage in the sense, beyond a point, if it makes sense, if it is essential service, which is provided by the newer tools and newer technologies of product, it's good. We all have watches, right? Watches, they show time, or they are meant to show time. Phones, they are meant to act as a means of communication to talk to people who are not in our vicinity. Basically distant, right? But what is happening is, now the watches, I'm just taking watches as examples, but there are plenty of other such innovative tools which are produced just for the heck of, hey, I can do that, so I'm producing it, rather than, hey, the world needs it. Alright, a watch, even if you buy a smartwatch from Apple or Samsung or any new company, its primary purpose is to show time. This doesn't change. But what is happening now? You have the possibility to pick up your calls or even make calls from your phone, listen to music, organize your day, and so on and so forth. So these are technological overdrives which are not necessary, because if you think about an average college-going kid in India, just in India, the kid, let's say it's a she would have probably have a laptop or a computer, she would have a mobile phone, and affordable few would have smartwatches, but all of them would have normal watches, right? And these have a need. I mean, to learn about the world, to learn newer things, you need computer with internet and phone to stay connected and watch for time. But beyond that, all the additional features which are getting loaded on all these devices, they come with a very steep price. Only we don't know yet, or we ignore them as of today, right? So we can even make a smartwatch dance in your wrist. Technology may take a leap of faith, and this may become possible in the near future. But what for? And why should we have a dancing watch in our wrist? Is it because everybody else has? No, that shouldn't be the way, right? But this is the way we are moving ahead, and this is the primary reason for the catastrophic changes which are happening around us in nature, be it the rains or absence of rains, which we call droughts, and then the floods, and then freezing cold sometime, and scorching heat some other time, and then pest infestation, pest attacks and wars and so on and so forth. What is happening is, with the advent of technology, which was meant to make us freer to do more meaningful things, in fact have made us prisoners of the luxuries of life, or the affordability, or the convenience, or the blind greedy consumerism. To feed us, to keep feeding us continuously, the companies keep on inventing newer and newer stuff, and to produce those, they have to keep swindling nature continuously. Unfortunately, nature is a finite store of resources. At some point in time, we will start exhausting one resource after another. What is happening now is unpredictable weather, which is adding a lot of cost to our wallets, though we don't realize it yet. In the sense, we need to spend more to protect ourselves during unseasonal weather, be heating of the room or cooling it, because the temperature is really scorching. It needs power, and power has to be produced from some coal plants, and coal plants need coal, and coal has to be mined, and it goes on and on and on, right? So we don't seem to mind the knock-on effect as long as we are able to enjoy our comforts, or so we think till now, right? With all these rapid changes we are inducing on ourselves, what is happening is the natural order, or the natural rhythm, has been greatly disturbed. It has become imbalanced, and we see the direct results in unprecedented floods and forest fires and so on and so forth. I have been talking about it in many of the past, the Great Indian Monologue episodes. This particular week, one news caught my attention. In the Middle East, Iran and its neighboring countries have a quarrel over clouds. Iranians have been accusing the neighboring countries of stealing their clouds. Can you imagine that? You heard me right. Iranian people, they think the neighboring countries have stolen their clouds, and that is the reason why they have been subjected to unprecedented droughts for a pretty long time in the recent years. How could anybody steal a cloud? Because cloud, on a very basic level, it's a puff of dust and water which floats in air above. And how can anybody steal it? And what do they do after stealing it? The issue was, many countries, they think they can outsmart nature, and they can control nature to make her do what they want her to do, when they want her to do, in the place they choose to do. So some countries which were experiencing droughts, they took up the cloud seeding technology, the technology by which aeroplanes would go and spray some chemicals on the atmosphere, which would either attract clouds or disperse clouds based on the need. I mean, in China, when they had a new stadium function or something like that, I don't remember the details, the meteorological office, they predicted rain, but the Chinese government, they sent some planes up to disperse the clouds to prevent rains from pouring down on the stadium or the place where the event was to happen. In other countries, When farmers kept complaining that their crops were withering because they didn't receive rains, those countries, they sent up planes with some chemicals to gather clouds in a particular area and make rain. But this is not rain clouds, they're not infinite, right? I mean, they rise from ocean and they move inland and then they empty the water and they disappear and again they form over the ocean. This is a cycle. But when a particular country pulls the clouds from its skies, the sky is open, there are no physical borders in the sky. So the neighboring countries, they think the clouds which were above the skies were pulled by the neighboring countries. I mean, by the country, which used cloud seeding. So they keep accusing the neighbors that you stole my clouds. Though this has been discussed as a joke by the weather officers, they say, I mean, it's illogical, this cannot happen and so on and so forth. Just imagine if all the countries on earth, if they want to either have rain or sunshine on a particular day, and if they use technology to achieve that result, what would happen to natural order? We can, forget regular rains thereafter, because any small change we forcibly introduce into the natural order of nature, it will cause a huge imbalance. This will create some kind of a domino effect. Domino is a game where people place a lot of tiles vertically one after other, and then when they push one tile, it slides, it falls on the next one, that falls on the next one, and it keeps going on till the last tile in the chain falls. This is called domino's effect. In nature also, all the things which are interconnected, the so-called web of life, if you knock off a particular corner, the effect will be like a domino's effect, where the reverberations or the repercussions or the impacts will be felt all over the world, because after all, we are all living under one roof called the earth. I mean, you may have one house, you may live in a rented house or own house, or you may own multiple houses or a palace or whatever, it doesn't matter. But all of us, the whole of humanity and all the living species under the skies, we are all living under the same sky. And that makes us inhabitants of the only house which has been hosting life as per the scientific information available as of today. And we are screwing it up big time. So my dear friend, welcome to the reality 2024. Mark my words, we will experience the hottest summer that we would have ever remembered. And then every coming year from now on, we will keep telling the previous year was better because it was cooler. The previous year was cooler. Unless and until we wake up to the issues of over-consumerism or blind consumerism and start tracing our life back to bare essentials. Thank you for listening patiently to this week's episode. I'm RJ Babuji Janak Rajan, signing off with lots of love and wishes for you for a beautiful, beautiful week filled with a lot of meaningful and enriching activities. I'll talk to you again in a week's time on this show. Till then, bye-bye.